Hello YouTube! So Parcel Force have just arrived. Let's see what's inside of here. I seen this on eBay and I thought, I like the look of that. I've got to get it. So I'm excited to see what it's like. So let's hope it's in one piece. We've got a packet of strings, 10 to 46, which I do not use this gauge, but, you know, who knows? In the future I might do. I might try it. Right, here we go. Looks like this is it. This looks like is it. Everybody, let me just unwrap everything. Wow. This is it. This is an Epiphone Deluxe. Okay, Epiphone Deluxe SG. It's very light actually. It's quite light. Lovely. It's a Korean one, made in the Unsung factory. So it's got Grover tuning pegs, because it's a later model, because the early ones had more of the Clusen style, Gibson type. It's a lovely finish. There's no splits or anything like that, because back when this was built, it was just a straight forward system, like a, you know, an old Gibson, just two Epiphone pickups. So yeah, probably needs tuning. Yeah, definitely needs tuning. So let me tune it up and plug it in. Right, so I've got the SG plugged into my Fender LT50 modelling amp. Now, I've tuned the guitar up, and I've played lots of SGs in the past. In fact, probably my first Epiphone was a red cherry SG, a good spec one. I won it on eBay for £120 at the time, a long time ago now, and it was made in China. It was a very early Chinese model. Now, a lot of them back then, when I started learning guitar, a lot of them were being made in Korea, either in the Sonic factory or the Unsung factory, which is this factory. Those were the most common factories when I was growing up, and there is other Korean factories, but they were the most common ones you would see. So this one, I've had since then. I've not really had many SGs since I started learning guitar, which was a long time ago now. I've not really had many SGs. The only SG I actually had was a white free pickup version, which was made in Korea. From experience, that was quite heavy, so it used the neck dive. As you can see, this guitar does not do that. So this guitar is quite light actually, which is I'm very surprised actually, because the SG I had was made in Korea, and that was the Unsung factory, and it was a good guitar, but it was heavier than this. But then I have tried exactly the same guitar made in the Unsung factory when I was at a guitar vintage guitar shop. There was an Unsung factory free pickup Korean one, exactly what I had, and I picked it up and tried it, and it was actually lighter. It was lighter. Let's put it like that. It wasn't as light as this, but it was lighter, definitely lighter. Whether that's because they make it to the 50 spec, I don't know, exactly like, you know, it should, I don't know. But I prefer a Gibson guitar to be lighter, and I've played Gibsons, some of them have not been good, and then one blew my mind, which is a musician's guitar. Her name's Rena, by the way, if she's watching. I played her guitar. I played a guitar a few times, and when I picked it up, when I first sort of picked it up, jammed with it at a jam session, I was absolutely blown away. But it was a Gibson special, with like a, you know, a Bigsby and everything, really fancy Gibson. It cost a lot of money, but it had like 8s or 9s on it, but it still played absolutely fantastic. And it wasn't because it had thin gauge strings on it, it just played great because it was a great guitar. But, you know, it's worth a lot of money. Is it worth that much when you can get something like this? And to be honest, I'll be honest with you, I've just literally plugged this in and tuned it up, because obviously the owner flattened the strings, because obviously for post, you know, he didn't want anything to happen to it. So I've tuned it up, and the person I bought this looks after their guitars. This is from 2004, and it's brand new, basically. It's absolutely mint condition, and it's a great guitar. Plays like a dream. You don't see many in this finish, which is, I think, Tobacco Sunburst. Yeah, and this is a deluxe model. This is not your standard model. The red one I had, the original SG I had, was a standard model. After that, I've not owned any SGs, believe it or not. All the guitars I've owned in my life, I've only owned 2 SGs. Yeah, 2 SGs, believe it or not. So, lots of Les Pauls, more Les Pauls than SGs. So, yeah. So yeah, it's got 10s on it, 10s to 46. But they feel really skinny, and I've tuned it to E flat, and there's no fret choking, really low action. This would put some Gibsons to shame. I always prefer them with the Grover pegs, to be honest. These are very good quality Grover pegs. And like I said, I'm not against China, Epiphone Chinese guitars. I've played some great ones, but I do think the Korean ones are generally made better, and probably more to a real good Gibson guitar. When I say good Gibson, I mean a good Gibson. But, you know, how many good Gibsons are out there? You just don't know. So this is the clean tone. Rings lovely. It's a real blues guitar. Love it. Middle position. strings really well. If I put some levers on it, you imagine how good it sounds. The neck's nice and wide, you know, which is what I like. Lovely guitar. So what you've got, that's your volume for your bridge. Middle position is controlled, the volume controlled on both bridge volume and then neck volume as well. It's both pickups. And then neck pickup is controlled by the first volume. That's it. Then you've got tone on full. There we go. Tone's down, tone up. So yeah, it's a little bit scratchy on the tone knobs because it's not been used probably since 2004 or whatever. Yeah, so it's U04, the serial number is. Great guitar, love it. Yeah, it's very cool, very, very cool. So I'm going to put a bit of drive on it, just a tad, and then I'm going to leave the video there. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I would put this up against the Dean, definitely. Better than any Gibson I've tried. Very, very good guitar. This is the best SG, best Epiphone SG I've tried. I'm not going to say it's better than the Gibson one, which I liked. I'm not going to say it's better than that, but it's either very close or the same as that. But it was a very nice Gibson. Very, very good one. But the trouble is, finding a good one is a nightmare, and it becomes silly because you're spending a fortune, but you're not necessarily getting a good guitar. But then sometimes you might get a good guitar. Quality control is not very good. That's the problem. With an old Korean one like this, you know, majority of the time, they're very, very consistent. Very, very good guitars. Even the pickups, I love them. I'm not going to change them. They sound good. Very, very cool for blues. You know, I can't understand why someone would change it. The only reason why I think they would change it is because they were looking for some different kind of sound, you know. Like and subscribe. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, I'm going to put a bit of drive on the amp. Okay, just a bit of drive.